Arms to everyone. Hari Bol. So today, another amazingly auspicious day, Uttana Ekadasi, the day that Mahavishnu wakes up and wakes all the jivas on this particular day. Tremendously potent day, and it falls almost at the end of our Kartik Brat. So every year we celebrate this Tithi with great joy and happiness at the auspiciousness of the day, Uttana Ekadasi. And of course today is the most wonderful Tirobhava of Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. He just comes on this particular day towards the end of Kartik. It's always a day that I look forward to anyway, because it's often been quite a vigorous, austere Kartik, and it heralds the last days of Kartik, is this Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj's Ekadashi. So we'll celebrate something about him, but it's also the appearance of Maharaj, the Gurudev of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. So we'll also say some Pushpanjali, offer some Pushpanjali to his lotus feet. But first we'll have our Damodarastakam Kirtan, and then we'll go back to our 7th verse of Damodarastakam. So we'll have a Kirtan.
Vishwaram Satchidananda-rupam Tasat-gudanam Gurena-yamanam Yashoda-piya-rupa-dana-manam Rodam Tamurur-netra Yugram Rijantam Taram Goja-yurmena Satankanetram Muhusvasatam Patri-evantakantam Sita-devadamonaram Bhakti-vadam Iti Krisvali Ananda-kunde Swaroshami-vajantam Madhya-payantam Kaveyu-shikaveshu Bhakti-jitadvam Puna-prema-tastasya-daviti-vante Maram-deva-moksham Namo
Digaya Tvadiya Priyaya
Namo Nasamidaya Devaya Tuvyam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Oh Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Jaya Nityananda Oh Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Jaya Sachi Oh Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Radhe Oh Radhe Radhe Oh Radhe Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhabika Giritari Radha Damadaju Ki Jai Radha Govinda Dev Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimai Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimai Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimai Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Tadastara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Tirobhava Srila Bhakti Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Sachinandana Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Vaishnav Sabhavoma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Acharya ki jai. Jai Rasik Siromani Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya ki jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's ki jai. Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parsada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sigahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gautramdvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janudvip Modundvip Rudradvip Atmakanavadvip Dham ki jai. Badravan Bandiravan Belvan Lohavan Mahavan Madhuvan Talvan Kamudvan Bahulavan Brindavan Kadiavan Kamyavan Brajamandal ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwadasava Matmika Shri Brajamandal ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani ki jai. Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Ketra Mandal ki jai. Sarva Vigna Vinasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charidam ki jai. Chari Sampradaya ki jai. Chari Acharya ki jai. Akada Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat ki jai. Shri Srimad Bhagavatam Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gau Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Aginati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Priya Sarupe Dayita Sarupe Prema Sarupe Sahajabi Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartinokala Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Tuti Katamba Sadipita Sadahridare Kandare Sputati Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantamana Petyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabobinidus Tansarva Bhutam Hridimunimanato Bhaktiya Vina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadi Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapan Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Bhajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smara Miradam Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radam Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katina Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Naimam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandava Pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadastara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto our most beloved, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadastara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And on this most unto Namo Gaura Kisoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambode Parambojaya Te Namaha Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. And to Bhakti Dayita Madhva Goswami Maharaj ki jai. And to all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga, and to all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevcha Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnaveena Namo. So Uttana Ekadasi, fasting, running very fast to Krishna. That's what fasting really means.
Yes.
Nothing less. The stones fast, the trees fast. So nothing so special about fasting, but running fast to Krishna, that is special. So we can do that by our regulation of our food intake today, especially. And this was the day Uttana Ekadasi, as I've already said, when the Lord Mahavishnu, he wakes up. And with his waking up, all jivas wake up. So it's a time of rising consciousness, this Uttana Ekadasi. Very, very powerful. I put some nice quotes on our WhatsApp thread today about the speciality of this Ekadashi. But for us, it's such a special occasion because it's the Tirobhava of Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj was such a humble personality in his life and his external dealings, etc. Totally %% dedicated only to pleasing Sri Radha and Krishna. He writes this beautiful bhajan, Kotai go, what's that? Kotai, my Radhe Radhe. Yes, so beautiful. He chants this in a mood of great longing and separation. Namo Gaura Kisoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtiye. He's the embodiment of Vairagya. We have the pastime when he would tell his own mind, "Oh tongue, you want to enjoy rubbery? You want to enjoy some rasgulla? Here, take some Yamuna mud." Or take some neem leaves, like that. And then he sometimes would tell the devotees around him, "Today we'll have a festival. We'll fast all day and just taste Sri Nam for our Mahaprasad." So he was very, very powerful because he had no connection whatsoever externally with the material world. Completely detached in every single way. And of course, we always, when we glorify these different personalities, we remember their Gurudevs, because these personalities are only acknowledged as so potent and powerful because they always acknowledge their own Gurudevs so much, because they know the current of the line, where it's coming from, where any potency is coming from in the heart of a realized soul is only from his Gurudev. So Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, his Diksha Guru is Bhagavat Das Babaji, who was a disciple of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. But his Shiksha Guru, prominent Shiksha Guru, is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur would give his discourses in Godram Dweep, then Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji, who had been living originally in Radhakund for about 30 years, he came to take up residence in Navadweep Dham, because his dear beloved Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was residing here. And whenever he would speak his Harikatha, Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj would always attend very enthusiastically. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very, very affectionate towards Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji. So we see in our line is so important to have enshrined in the heart where our truths are that we are receiving today. This Gaudiya line, it's coming from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and then coming Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then coming Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. So we glorify all this line and try to remember them. And by the mercy of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj in particular, he has emphasized so conclusively that unless we glorify these personalities on their tithis, on their holy days of appearance and disappearance, then we're committing an offense, an aparad. And previous to hearing this, I never knew this. This is, every acharya sets some particular jewel, some lamp within the line. So Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, he set this lamp in the line to appreciate all the Vaishnavas. So we've been diligently doing that now for about 6 or 7 years since I first heard that instruction anyway. And it's tremendous to become familiar with all the other personalities. And today also, we'll talk about that in a minute, but because I want to stay with Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji for a little bit longer. He was, he left this world, his Tirobhava was in 1915. 1915. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world in 1914. Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj left this world in 1913. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, 3 years in a row, bang, 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 these tremendous disappearance days affected his life. He was suddenly left alone. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, as we know, is the only dear disciple of Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj was not in a mood whatsoever of accepting any type of followers. If someone came very humbly, very submissively, offered some money or something like that, or even some articles, Babaji Maharaj would not even accept them. He was not in any way trying to attract people. To such a degree, we know the pastime, where he would take shelter in a latrine. He couldn't handle the stench of the materially minded people. He preferred the stench of excrement, of stool, to the materially minded people. He just wasn't into that mood. And this is very inspiring, because today we see many personalities the opposite way. And we have to appreciate and balance all these different considerations. But Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj was just he lived under a boat, for quite a while. And then when the flood came, they thought the boat was going to go away. And then they tried to encourage him to come out of the boat and leave a place, because they thought it would float away. And one commentary says that at that time, he told those people who were offering him a place, "Let me choose my own room in your house then." So he came to the house and he saw the latrine and he said, "I'll stay here." And they were just shocked. He's not trying to be socially correct in any fashion whatsoever. There was a time when he came into the ashram of Swananda Sukada Kunj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all dressed in very fine dhoti, fine kurta, turban, carrying a cane. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, "Oh, what pastime are you performing now, my dear Babaji?" And he said, "So many of the Babajis today are materially orientated. Better I join them and just become like a materialist. This is more suited. They're not really practicing this path of vairagya." So Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, when he was approached, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, was very much acknowledging the potency in his son, this ray of Vishnu, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he instructed him, you take your initiation you take your diksha from Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati approached Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, begged for initiation, and categorically Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj said, "No, you're too arrogant," because he was very, very astute, very erudite. We know Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was like a walking encyclopedia practically. So Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj was purifying any conception. Of course, there wasn't any conception, but he was just making Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati go deeper in these conceptions. And he said, "No, you're too proud of your learning." So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati went away devastated and came back again a few days later, again requested. But this time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was piteously weeping. So then Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj's heart melted and said, "Okay, I will ask my Prabhu, I will ask Mahaprabhu if he will accept you." So the next day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came back and he said, "Oh, Mahaprabhu, I forgot to ask." That was the second day. And then the third day he came back and said, "So your Mahaprabhu, has he given consent?" And he said no. He said, "No, you cannot come." So then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was thinking, the only recourse left for me is just to go into the Ganga with a rock around my neck. I have no more use for this life. This type of nishta had to be achieved. So Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji, from the very beginning of this communication with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, was taking him into this point of do or die, life and death. That type of sitting on the edge of these two worlds, between this mortal world and the spiritual world. He was bringing him to that point by these exchanges. So finally, Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, on the request again of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, said, "Yes, okay, I will accept you as my disciple." And he gave him some tiger, a teeth bracelet, necklace, and he gave him a stamp. This was all he had. He would carry these few things around in his bag. And he gave all this to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And we get the impression, the mood, from all the writings and teachings that Srila Kisora Das Babaji loved him dearly like a son, and just wanted to benedict him with anything that he had like that, because he could understand the height and speciality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He was an extraordinary personality. So all of these people, as we've mentioned so many times, in their spiritual identities are all Manjaris. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Kamala Manjari, and Srila Kisora Das Babaji is Guna Manjari, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is Naini Mani Manjari. So all of these personalities have revealed their swarups fully. Actually, just for your interest, I read a commentary once by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj, and he was saying, in his estimation, he felt that Srila Kisora Das Babaji was a remanifestation of Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar was so erudite. Lalita Sakhi herself, checking all the writings coming from all of the associates wanting to share with Mahaprabhu. He knew what was rasa bas, he knew what was rasa, he knew the tattva. So he would really scrutinize it and examine. And now he's saying this person who appeared as if he was uneducated, Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, could practically not even write his own name. In his previous life, he was born in a Vaishya family. He took his birth in a Vaishya family. And he was married until about the age of 40. The age of 40, his wife died, and then he came to Vrindavan. And he was in a grain merchant business, but he had no reason externally to educate himself materially. This is why he appears somewhat uneducated, because materially he didn't have any respect at all for the material world from the very beginning. So why should he be educated in material sciences, etc.? He had no attraction to it. But spiritual life was completely different. Then he took shelter, I told you, of Bhagavat Das Babaji, who was a disciple of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. So this is the line. So today we are with great joy and happiness celebrating this renounced, extremely loving, and if you pray deeply to any of these personalities, especially on their tithis, especially on their holy days, this is what Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj knew and was giving us. If you pray to these people, a special window opens up. On this particular day in particular, the window is always open, but on this day, the powerful stream of mercy is flowing through that window. And if you offer any type of pushpanjali at all to these personalities, then reciprocation will come in a very significant way. But be careful with Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, because he'll probably just take away everything that you consider sacred, which will be to our great advantage, ultimately, but we have to be prepared for that. So, Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. And today is the most auspicious day of the Gurudev of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Dayita Madhva Goswami Maharaj. He took his birth in 1904, and he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in 1927. And he was from a very opulent Brahmin family, very high caste Brahmin family. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had that ability to attract the highest caliber of followers to his camp. So many of these parikars we've been discussing were from such high-class Brahmin families, which automatically would endear great respect in the public. Isn't it? Indian culture will always respect a Brahmin, what to speak of a Brahmin from a high-class family. So these high-class boys would come to the camp, the flag of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and completely educated, totally erudite in all the shastras. And they had the ability to transform others' hearts in such a mighty way, because they were getting the infusion from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who was getting the infusion from Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, the infusion from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this current was flowing through. Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj is celebrated principally for his tremendous munificence and generosity and kindness to the Vaishnavas. And this is the teaching we get from his great Shishya, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. He impressed, if you meet any followers of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, they're always asking, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? This is what's man. It's like with Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, they have a different mood of preaching. Preaching, that's what he injected into them, to preach to the masses. My Gurudev has injected into us Radha Dasyam is the goal. So each guru has a particular jewel that they offer. Bhakti Vinod Thakur gave us so many jewels in the Jaiva Dharma in particular. All the jewels are mapped out there. All the pathways of sadhan bhakti, etc. And his just brilliance, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. But Srila Dvaita, Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj was so generous with all the devotees. He'd go to any extreme to help a devotee in any kind of distress or difficulty. If they were having difficulty with their bodies, for example, then he would spend any amount of money to take them to the hospital or give them medication or something. He never neglected, ever, 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 any Vaishnava, whichever camp they were in, because we remember when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left, it broke into so many different camps. But Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj would regularly travel through all the different camps, and everybody loved him. Those camps of Srila Pramod Puri Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, all of these, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, they all eventually had to have their own mutts, which is a wonderful thing. I'm always personally very happy that these personalities made their own mutts, because they're all so strong in their own right. They all have their own jewels to present. If you try and amalgamate them all into a single unit, those jewels are not going to be quite so bright for us in the future. Whereas you see them in the individual, just like with my Gurudev. My Gurudev, when he left also, our parties now, our Sangha, so to speak, has all fractured. They're all different personalities for the same reason, that they're coming into their own specialities, their own potentialities, and they will develop that nicely. And then we will all be benedicted by these different jewels. But there should never be any disrespect between them. Following the example of Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj, he would go to all the different mutts, all the different mahotsavas that were going on, and he would support them all financially or bring his devotees there. And he had so many followers also. He preached in Assam, principally, Srila Bhakti Dvaita Maharaj. I had never heard of Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj until I met Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. I never even heard the name. We used to come into his temple and someone would say, oh, this is Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj, and just go over the top of my head. Had no idea who he was. So all these luminaries that come to life from the mercy of the Shishyas is very empowering for the devotee to appreciate. So Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva, there's one very beautiful compilation by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj called Volcanic Energy. Volcanic energy. This personality had volcanic energy. He was a very tall, very impressive, very powerful, charismatic personality, completely erudite in all the Shastras. He would just boom and explode in all of his discourses and so on. So he carried the mission of his Gurudev. These personalities, when they glorify they glorify their own Guru as being the singly responsible personality for whatever credit they may have to them. Like Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would glorify, he said, any credit coming for me is only the credit of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would say the same thing about Srila Gaura Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj would always glorify extensively Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So on this day, we remember with great happiness our Guru Varga. We remember this line and the exemplary prayers and submissiveness to the individual gurus in our line, how they glorified them so much. Without this Guru Tattva is the backbone. Without Guru Tattva, how can any Nishta be there? If Guru Nishta is vacant, your bhakti is absolutely vacant. Absolutely vacant. Because how will you get the connection? It's literally like a plug, plugging into the current of divine bhakti. If you're not plugged in, how are you going to get that bhakti? What is the origin of your plug? Where is it? So when someone has any realization of the sacred truths that reside within us already, prakatamiti sadyate, it's described that, like we've said many times, the fire within the wood is there in potential, but it can never ignite, ever. You can't ignite any piece of wood without another piece of wood being on fire to touch that wood. It's simple. Fire will never ignite. It has to have another piece of wood that's already on fire. And then by association with that fire, that wood will ignite. It's exactly the same in our Guru principle. So Guru Tattva is the backbone of all of our bhakti growth and progress. So we are always, we daily recite all these prayers to Guru. Why do we recite this Guru Vandanam at the beginning of every single class? Because we want to get in connection and the mercy from each of these personalities. When we're hearing the names of those different personalities gradually over the years, these personalities become more and more and more and more prominent by glorifying them, particularly on their Tithi days. So today we glorify Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Goswami Maharaj for his great munificence, great generosity, great spirit of kindness, compassion, in particular to all the devotees. Very endearing, such endearing qualities of respectability for the Vaishnavas. We need this today. As Kali Yuga deepens, then people become mental more fractional, more sectarian. This party politics creates sectarianism. It's not about, oh, this camp is better than that camp or that. We are all Vaishnavas practicing the worship of the Supreme Lord Sri Hari. There should be no distinction from that principle. So when we find that all-encompassing harmony being distributed, we should be very respectful towards those groups that are advocating compassion to everybody. There should not be these, it practically seems like envy when there's fractional discord. This is not what bhakti is about at all. Trinada pi sunichena tarora pi savishana. Amanina manadena kirtanya sarhari. This is the emblem of the Vaishnavas. So we must hold to this, and this is what Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Maharaj exhibited so powerfully. So we can post some further writings about Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Goswami Maharaj. Perhaps we might have the beloved, not the beloved masters, the volcanic energy in a PDF form. If we can, if someone can post it to Rasamanjari, then we can publish it in our WhatsApp group, so you can read at your own discretion. So Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, so now we come to our... I'm sorry, yesterday my health just fell apart. But today, by the mercy of Srimati Radhika, I met a very generous-hearted doctor here in Radhakund and received some good medication. So perhaps if any of you noticed, I'm much more less coughing today. Yesterday I couldn't even make it through. Someone else had to read. But today I feel, by Radharani's mercy, and by the mercy of Srila Kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, and the mercy of Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhva, they are showing me their mercy today, allowing me to carry on this Damodar Astakam, because I really want to complete this Astakam before we conclude our Kartik Parikrama. So we've reached page 150, I think. Yes, correct? 151, okay. So just a quick recap, and these recaps, to me, are very significant because it's linking regularly, saying the connection of all the verses. All the verses have to be connected in our consciousnesses because they make up the complete package of what is this Damodarastakam giving. So we start off with the Praman. Namam Ishwaram Satchit Ananda Vigraha. This is the Mangalacharan for the whole Astakam. So this is glorifying where this Astakam is coming from. It's making the platform. And then we go straight into the Leela in the first verse. This is significant because my Gurudev always used to say that the Leela is much more important than the Tattva. The Leela is like the rider on the horse. And the Tattva is the horse. Who is more important, the rider or the horse? The rider is more important because he's riding the horse. The horse is the carrier. So the Tattva is the carrier. But the rider is the one where we are going to connect with. So straight away, we're hearing in the first verse this remarkable understanding that Mother Yashoda could run faster than Krishna. And the teaching is that we have to run faster than Krishna to catch him. Not that, oh, I will just think in my mind, Krishna loves me so much because I'm a spirit soul and he will come for me. No, I have to go to him. That is a demonstration of our attraction and affection. If I don't go to him, what? Love is a verb, to love. If I'm advocating, yes, I love God, what does that, what context does that come in? It means my service to that love. The symptom of love is service. That's the symptom of love. If you love someone in any way, even if you love your cat or your dog, you'll serve them. If you love your parents, you'll serve them. But in the transcendental realm, if you love your Guru Maharaj and you serve him, then those transcendental jewels and reciprocation will come back. So this mood of service to Krishna, to attract Krishna, Akashani, Krishna Akashani Chasa. Krishna becomes attracted by our service. So this is extremely powerful introduction. In the first verse, Mother Yashoda ran faster than Krishna to capture him. Can we love Krishna more than he loves us? Can we capture him? Yes, we can. By the mercy of Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of our Guru Varga, we can learn how to catch Krishna. And then the second verse, we come to, it's called Mantra Mai Upasana. Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugram Rijantam. That Krishna is rubbing his eyes again and again. Some say he's rubbing his eyes because he wants to look like he's crying. Because this is the nature of a child. To get out of any sort of punishment from his mother. He wants his mother to think, oh, I'm really afraid and I'm really suffering, so she'll drop the stick. Another commentary is saying that he really is crying and he's trying to wipe away the tears from his eyes. Huh? So, Rudantam Muhur Netra, Yugmram Mijantam. And so we're going right into the Leela of the Damodar prayer. What is it all about, etc. Then in the third verse, we come to Itidriksva Lila Bia Ananda Kunde, this pool of blissful pastimes. What is the nature of that bliss we're reading about now in the seventh verse, when the twin Arjun trees crash and Mother Yashoda comes and sees her little son tied to the grinding mortar, almost grazed by these massive trees. These trees are 100,000 years old. If we've ever seen big trees in California, perhaps you might have seen in Badger, those massive, massive kauri trees, they're called, I think, isn't it? Oh.
Redwood?
Redwood, yes, those redwood. You can even driven through one in Oregon. You can drive a car, right? They've made like a gateway and you can drive through the tree. What to speak of in Dwarpa Yuga, the size of the trees. They were even greater. So these two trees were massive. And it appeared they almost killed Krishna. Mother Yashoda, her heart is mortified. What would have happened to my Lala if he'd been hit by these trees? She thinks, the pure devotee thinks, and it's described even when Krishna takes birth from Mother Yashoda. She's looking at her child like a beautiful sapphire jewel, and she's thinking to herself, I am not qualified to have such a beautiful child. She has that mood of deep humility immediately, how did I get the qualification for such a beautiful child? So she's thinking straight away, it's my fault. I am the culprit in this that almost killed my Lala, Krishna. Nanda Baba, it appears, thinks the same thing. Because Nanda Baba comes running out, unties Krishna from the grinding mortar and said, who did this? Just like Baladev was saying initially, who did this? And Krishna, who's sobbing now, because now he's got sympathy. Before he was playing happily with his friends. But as soon as mother or father come, immediately they turn on the, sad child act. And Krishna is acting as a baby, or he is a baby. So he knows all the tricks of babyhood. And he whispers in his father's ear, Mai. Nanda Baba is just shocked. And he said, today we will not even speak to Mother Yashoda. This is the worst thing that you can do to a beloved one, is just turn off the communication completely. So Nanda Baba, he took Balaram and Krishna to the Goshala and he squirted the milk directly into their mouths. It's called liquid gold. When you take the milk directly from the cow's udder, there's no need for pasteurization or purification or anything. It's already purified. But it's only, I think, about 10 or 20 seconds when the milk is in that condition and it becomes very quickly contaminated. So when you get it straight from the udder, it's absolutely pure. It's called liquid gold. So Nanda Baba would sit and he'd squirt milk into his two sons' mouths. This was for breakfast. And then he'd bring some ladus out of his pocket and feed them that. Then they take their breakfast that day in the Goshala. Mother Yashoda could not even feed her Lala that day. Mother Yashoda is just sitting stunned. This is the Ananda Kunde. This is the churning of the hearts that Krishna is doing. He's churning the hearts of the Brijbasis. All the Brijbasis are very aware of Mother Yashoda's absolute, trauma that she's experiencing from this. Total trauma. She's just stunned. She can't do anything. She has no more tears. So all day long, this churning is going on. Nanda Baba takes his lunch. Rohini Ma cooks the lunch for Nanda Baba and Krishna this day. And then in evening time, Krishna comes back and they're trying to convince him, oh, go to your mother. No, I will not ever go to my mother. And then Rohini whispers in Krishna's ear, what would happen if your mother died? Then Krishna's triggered in his heart. He jumps out, he runs to Rohini Ma. Rohini Ma carries him to Yashoda. And the whole of Braj erupts in tears of happiness and joy. This is Ananda Kunde. This is the ocean of blissful pastimes that are taking place in Vrindavan. Just like the Kalyanaga pastime. When the Brijbasis see Krishna bound by Kalyanaga, it's churning their hearts in a mood of impending separation from Krishna. What's going to happen if Krishna gets crushed by this massive serpent? We can't imagine how big that serpent was. 1,000 hoods, 101 prominent. We can't even conceive of that. This was the first demon that the Brijbasis had ever seen. And they love Krishna with every atom of their being. And now it's being, the idea of separation from him becomes to be prominent in their minds. And they just go into such deep moods of affection and attraction for Krishna. It's this affection and attraction for Krishna through the mood of vipralamba, through the mood of separate. We see this particularly, of course, in the gopis, when Krishna leaves them. There's two sides to the whole dynamic of the loving pastimes, meeting and separation, meeting and separation. If we look at the map of the 8 paharas of the day, we start off with Nishanta Leela, full meeting. This is 2.5 hours. Then we go to Pratar Leela. This is 2.5 hours. This is separation. If you look at the whole map, there's exactly 12 hours of intimate meeting, and there's 12 hours of separation from Krishna. Every day. It's the same every day. These 8 praharas of the day. Nishanta Leela is meeting. Pratara Leela is separation. Then Purvana Leela, that's the third yama of the day. That is separation, because Krishna is taking the cows to the cow pass. And then there's meeting. The Madhyana Leela, midday, that's 5 hours. We can send a map. And you can see clearly the meeting and separation. After Madhyana Lila is Apurvana Lila. That's separation again. Krishna's back with the cows. And then Syayam Lila, when Krishna returns with the cows from... They're never absolutely separated from him, but the intimacy of the meeting is separated. Because in Nishanta Lila, Madhyana Lila, and Ratri Lila, there's no elders around. There's no barriers. There's no intimidation. They're completely at liberty to be with each other, totally, fully, and express their attraction and affection for each other. This is the Ratri Lila. We know the Ras pastimes, the whole 5 hours of the day. So 5 hours, what do you call Ratri Lila? 5 hours approximately. 5 hours Madhyana Lila and 2 hours approximately in Shanta Lila. These are the meeting times. Then the other Leelas are like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So it's 24 hours. So this meeting and so in these pastimes in Braj, Krishna is enacting the same moods, just like we see with Mahaprabhu. What was Mahaprabhu tasting in Navadvip, which was meeting? Mahaprabhu is in a mood of more Shyamras, actually, in Navadvip. He has the potential for Radha Bhav to manifest it, but that doesn't manifest until he reaches the Godavari and exchanges with Vishaka, with Rai Ramananda. And then that Sakhi Bhav begins to manifest in the heart of Mahaprabhu, that Radha Sakhi Bhav. Then that Sakhi Bhav is ignited fully, which comes to the separation mood, which is what Mahaprabhu wanted to taste. His desires, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanaiva Svadyena Buddha Madhurima Kidrisho Vamadiya Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vatilobat Tad Bhavadya Samachani Sachi Garvu Sindhu Varindu. This 6th verse of Adi Lila. 6th or 7th? 6th verse, yes. This is written by who? Swarup Damodar Maharaj writes this verse. So these are the 3 desires of Mahaprabhu. And they're all going to be tasted in a mood of Vipralamba. Mahaprabhu wants to taste the same Mahabhav that Sri Radhika is experiencing, because he can't experience it as Krishna. So he comes again as Sachinandan Gaurahari with the mood of Radhika, so that he can be like the Ashraya, worshipping the Vishaya. Understand? So he wants to taste himself. So my Gurudev has explained that practically the whole last 24 years of Mahaprabhu's life is in a mood of Vipralamba, separation. And the Navadvip pastimes are more in a mood of meeting. They're more family orientated. Is Sambandha Lokik Vatya, this meeting together with his parents, with his 2 wives, Lakshmi Priya, Vishnu Priya. All these pastimes are very, very sweet. But in Navadvip Dham, Mahaprabhu has cut all his hair. He lives in the austere, tiny room of the Gambhira, and he's remembering the separation moods of Sri Radhika practically daily in the company of Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda, inspired during the day by reading the Bhagavatam with Gadadhar Pandit at the Tota Gopinath temple. He comes back every night after reading the Bhagavatam with Gadadhar, with those same conceptions within his heart, and he unpacks them with Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda every night in the Gambhira. So Mahaprabhu is experiencing this this separation. So we have a picture of Mahaprabhu experiencing this separation. And the sadhak is praying for that eagerness to come from the mood of separation. How much are we feeling separation from Krishna now? We haven't had darshan fully of Krishna, but we've heard his holy name. We've met exalted devotees of Krishna, and we want to catch up that spirit of what is the meaning of this Vipralamba Bhav, what is the meaning of this separate. When Guru leaves, my Gurudev has explained, this is when your real Vaishnavata, your real Guru Nishta will manifest. How much separation are you really feeling when your Gurudev departs this world? How much did you, if you've made a strong connection with Gurudev while he's in this world, you're going to be mortified when he leaves this world. This is how all the acharyas pray. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj prays in separation from him. He was 24 years old when he came to the Mutt, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And the connection they had with their guru, you know, was extreme. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati also. So they show this love and affection in a mood of deep, deep Vipralamba Bhav. Namo Gaura Kisora Sakshat Vairagya Murti. Vipralamba is in this mood of Vipralamba, this mood of deep, profound separation. So this is what the Ananda, this is the third verse. Then fourth verse, Varam Deva Moksham. This is when Satyabrat Muni is saying, I don't even want Navada Bhakti. I don't even want moksha. I don't even want Vaikuntha Prem. Krishna says, well, what do you want then? You don't want any of this. I just want to see your beautiful form within my heart eternally. And then the next verse escalates. He doesn't just want to see the form, he wants to see the beautiful smiling face. It goes to another level. He's not interested in the rest of it, just the face. That's the next verse. Idam te mukam bojam avyakta nilai. This is the fifth verse. Then the sixth verse we come to. This is the Sankirtan. He reaches a conclusion in his mind. The only way I'm going to have this very rare desire fulfilled, because even the Kumaras, they say, oh, you don't have to go and see Krishna, you just have him in your heart. Like the yogis, they say like this, as long as Krishna's in your heart, that's okay. But that's not good enough for Satyabrat Muni, no. It's not good enough for the gopis also. They want to see Krishna directly. It's this greed to see him, Shakshad Darshan, to see him directly, not just in meditation. So this Sankirtan of the sixth verse, Damo Devan, what is it? Oh, Daram Anta Vishnu. So we went through all these different names of when we're singing every single day, because we have the fortune to sing this Astakam daily or twice daily, every single Kartik Brat for the rest of our lives. So it's intelligent to actually get into this Damodar Astakam at least one time during our lives, and then forever it'll be there, the impression. It's like if we learn particular tattvas very carefully, like the verse Anya Bilasita Shunyam, what is pure bhakti? If you take the time to learn this very deeply and carefully, it'll always be there. Understand? So knowing this Damodar Astakam and its sequence, so we've just come to the Damodeva Dharananta Vishnu. He's calling out in his Sankirtan mood the names of Krishna in the hopes of having his deepest desire fulfilled. And then in the seventh verse, he's saying, well, if Nalagriva and Manigriva and Nalakubera, if they could achieve your darshan, because they get his darshan complete, and they were reprobates. They were really sinful people. They were sinful rascals of a very wealthy father. Kubera is the treasurer of the demigods. They were like arrogant rich kids, you know, just flaunting their wealth. In front of Narada Rishi, he thought, Kubera is my dear friend, I will give mercy to his sons, and gives them a curse to become trees. So in this seventh verse, it's about the trees crashing down and about the manifestation of those two sons coming as demigods from the trees and offering pranams to Krishna. So this is more or less where, but try what I'm saying now in this run through, this summary, to learn this summary ourselves, so we can just present it bang, like, so we have it in our mind. So when we're singing the Astakam, we're scrolling through, because it's all escalating. Because we said at the very beginning that the Staibhav of Sonaka Rishi, who's the first recipient to hear this mantra, this prayer from Narada Rishi. Narada Rishi is speaking to Sonaka Rishi in the first day of Lord Brahma, the first day of his whole creation. This is an eternal pastime. And he's speaking this divine Astakam to Sonaka Rishi, and it's described whose Staibhav was not fixed yet. His Staibhav is fixed, but it hasn't manifested yet. He doesn't know what it is. So the first proposition is Dasya Bhav, then Sakya Bhav, then Vatsalya Ras. Then we're coming finally in the 8th verse to Madhurya Ras. So it's an escalation of teachings. And in this particular compilation by my Gurudev, he unpacks all the deepest moods about bhajan, to how to catch into that current and practice the unpacking and unveiling of our own sthai bhav. He goes into great detail, especially in the 4th verse, about what is bhajan, what is archan, etc. This is very important to distinguish. If we don't know what is Shuddha Bhakti, how can we actually practice it? So this is the mood and principle. So we've almost reached our time. I'm sorry about that, but we want to read. We'll read to the end of this. We'll take it for another few minutes anyway, of this chapter. I'll try to just read straight through. So I just wanted you to catch the thread, catch the current, catch the structure, because I think it gives us a lot more insight into all the tattvas that are being presented, if you know the context of it, doesn't it? It gives it some sort of solidarity, some platform is there, some pure sanity for the mind. The mind likes to climb steps, step by step by step. So we're up to page 150. We've read the first paragraph. Oh, Snigdha Kanta and Madhu Kanta. These demigods, when they appeared from the trees, they got the benediction to be eternal residents of Vrindavan, even though they were complete drunkards. Krishna is doing this because of his great love and affection for Narad. If Narad has made this curse, Krishna must come and fulfill the curse of Narad, fulfill that benediction of Narad. Krishna's bound to do that. So now we come to the second paragraph on page 151. So Sri Rupa Goswami Pad explains how one can attain prema bhakti. This very famous verse, Adho Shraddha
tatas sadhu sangosta bhajana kriya tato anardha nivrittihi syat tato nishta ruchistatha adhasaktis tato bhavas tatah premadbhutam chati sadhakanam ayam premna pradurbhave bhavet kramaha.
Thank you, very nice. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1, 4, 15 to must be 16. In the heart of the sadhak, first shraddha, faith, develops. Without faith, there's no foundation. Faith, of course, has to develop. And faith is a continuing, increasing quality. It's not, oh yes, I have faith, put that away. Every single day, like Sharanagat, every single day, we're becoming more Sharanagat. Every single day, our faith is increasing. Of course it is. By your experiences of Brajmandal Parikrama today, your faith has increased from yesterday, hasn't it? It must have done. By your association, by your practice, by your chanting, it has to increase. That's the quality of it's increasing, just like the Damodarastikam itself. It's this increasing must be there. After that comes sadhu sangha, association with saints. Bhajana Kriya, regulated devotional practices. Yes, that regulation must be there, strictly. And then anartha nivritti, the clearing of unwanted habits. Of course, we try to think of artha pravritti. What is the focus? What is the beauty? Not what is the negative aspect. Always the glass is half full or half empty. We can focus on either. If we're always thinking the glass is half full, that's positive. Better for our hearts to think the positive path. If we think the negative path, that might become tough. Might become what?
Depressing.
Depressing, yes. Next, the sadhak develops nishta in bhajan, fixed determination in devotional service, followed by ruchi, taste. Then he develops asakti, intense attachment. What a great surprise we've got for us. I mean, you know, when we clear the anartha and vritti stage, there is this intense attachment. I want that intense attachment where I'm just focusing on Krishna. Smartavya shatatam Vishnu, Vishmartavya nakatachit. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Training ourselves. At the time of death, things are going to be very bewildering. Last night I was in a very difficult condition. I didn't know what I was having, some sort of something or other, but so much crisis in my health and vomiting and so many things. And, you know, it's very hard to think of Krishna at a stage like that. It's very hard to keep that focus. We have to practice it to become like iron in our mental consciousness. Time of death is going to be disturbing for everybody because we've become very attached in however many years we've lived in this body to this bodily conception and all it represents. And to suddenly have that subtle body dissolve, where am I? Who am I? Do we remember I'm a servant of Krishna? At that point, it takes practice. This is what bhajan is, practice. And it's the attachment that is going to make it successful. If attachment is more for that than for this material pleasure, has that been purified? This desire, even for sleeping, for eating. These are material pleasures that we experience. Do we long to go to sleep every night just to get away from the suffering of the material world? To more or less merge into the Brahman for a few hours? Because it's so depressing in the world sometimes. It's so difficult. Adhyatmic, adhibautic, adhidevic, it's so tough. There are many tough challenges in life. Physically, subtly, like that. But if the attachment, this is what we want benedicted with. Today we want this benediction. Develops asakti for the object of bhajan, Brajendra Nandan, Sri Krishna. After this, Shuddha Sattva, pure unalloyed transcendental existence, descends in the heart of the sadhak in the form of bhav, spiritual emotions, and finally prem arises. Always remember there are 3 stages in our bhakti: sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, prema bhakti. If our sadhan bhakti is not being focused on bhav bhakti, what is the nature of our sadhan? 0, yes, nothing, completely empty. Because what are you focused on then? Liberation, moksha, mukti. If you're not focusing on what is bhav bhakti. Many are like this. Even subconsciously, they're doing their practice because they want liberation from the suffering of the material world. That's generally why people come to devotional service, is because they want some relief and respite from the material suffering that they're in. But that's not bhav bhakti. That's the desire for liberation, desire for gyan. We want prem, ultimately. Prem is the ultimate conclusion. So we have to hear these teachings, particularly from Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all the Goswamis in particular. Our Gurudev will be repeating these same principles. This verse is from Rupa Goswami. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead. I'm going to go a little bit over today because why not? Prema Bhakti actually develops in many sequences, but the most celebrated process and the one that is delineated in the scriptures is described here. From time immemorial, all the souls who are averse to Sri Bhagavan have been tossed about by the countless waves of misery in the fathomless ocean of material existence. This is what I've just been talking about, right? All this suffering we're coming through. They have simply been wandering aimlessly. We could also say working aimlessly. Work hard, get a good job, get some money, then you'll be happy. Isn't that the education we've had from birth?
Yes.
If you don't work, if you don't, get your exam results, you're going to be miserable in this world.
Be successful.
My father used to always tell me I'd be a dustman. In the English we call it dustman, the men who empty the trash man. If I didn't do my studies, I didn't really care because I thought the dustman had a good life hanging on the back of trucks. I thought that would be fun, you know. Anyway, I didn't follow my studies too carefully. They have simply been wandering aimlessly. However, when the special grace of Sri Bhagavan, the time comes, when by the special grace of Sri Bhagavan, the time comes for their worldly entanglement to end, they attain company of devotees. In the association of saints, a sadhak obtains the great fortune of hearing the glories of bhaktas, of bhakti and Bhagavan. These 3 principles. The bhaktas, bhakti and Bhagavan. directly from the mouths of exalted personalities like Bhakti Dayita Madhva Maharaj, like all these personalities we were discussing today. Next, as a result of Bhakti Unmukh Sukriti, pious merits related to Bhakti, transcendental faith or Paramartik Shraddha arises within the sadhak's heart. I can remember when I first heard this expression of Paramartik Shraddha, this eternal faith is there in the heart. It's eternal in the heart. By nature, Jivera Surup Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. This is the principal aspect of our identity. Our Staibhav is based on this principle. Jivera Surup Hoy. By nature, I love Krishna. It's my nature to love Krishna. This Paramartik Shraddha arises within the sadhak's heart. The indication that this kind of Shraddha has awakened in his heart is that he firmly believes in the statements of the scriptures and longs to hear Harikatha. Upon the dawning of such faith in a sincere way, he begins to associate with devotees. At this point, he begins to practice bhajan, and his anarthas start to vanish. His bhajan soon becomes steadfast, nishta, and he subsequently acquires a taste, ruchi, for the process. Eventually, when in the stage of ruchi, this is before asakti, there's still a mood of effort needed to walk away from the material conception. It's still there. But in the stage of asakti, you're already there. You're not making any endeavor to leave that material conception. It's already past, it's incinerated, it's gone. Asakti. Eventually he develops profound attachment, asakti, for his bhajan and for the object of bhajan. You have to be careful here. Sometimes you can get really attached to your bhajan, my chanting, my reading, my parikrama, my association, rather than who am I doing all this for? What am I trying to rise within my heart? My eternal swarup, my eternal identity as a servant, a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. That's a huge conception. It needs nourishing with tattva and with the words of Rasik Vaishnavas. Because unless you're going in that direction towards Braja Prem, you're not going to be capitalizing on the gifts that Mahaprabhu's come to give. He's only come to give Braja Prem. He hasn't come to give Vaidhi Bhakti. Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, they would give these precepts. Nityananda Prabhu also, without his mercy, Heno Nitai Binay Bai, Radha Krishna Paite Bai. You can't come to Mahaprabhu without his mercy. But what are they actually giving? When this stage matures, it becomes bhav, the sprouting stage of ecstatic loving emotions. Then prem finally arises in his heart. This is the sequence in which prem appears within the heart of the sadhak. This is so profound. You know, these words, they're so illuminating, step by step by step, but everything is here. The whole path of bhakti, the whole path of bhajan is really opened out in this Damodarastakam. That's why we sing it every single day. That's why it's really helpful to read through this book together and get a clear concept. What am I singing every day? What is it all about deeply? Hearing the prayers of Satyabrat Muni, Shri Krishna says, "O sage, you should accept liberation, which includes complete freedom from all the miseries of material existence." The sage responds, "O my Lord, I may encounter innumerable troubles in this world, but according to my past deeds and impressions, I may have to take birth in any species of life or even in hell, but I have no concern for my material fate. No concern. I just beg you to give me abundant prema bhakti for you. That is my only prayer." All of our acharyas explained that if a sadhak wants to attain prema bhakti, he must always seek the association of those who have prema bhakti for Bhagavan in their heart. Just like those who are on fire, they will ignite my potential fire. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavsa sadhanavida. Nitya siddhyasya bhavasya. This nitya siddhyasya bhavasya, prakritamridya sadhite. It's in potential within my heart already. I need to be in association with someone who will ignite that potentiality. Like Mahaprabhu did when he went to the Godavari. It's described that Radha Bhav was in potential within even his heart. That's why he came as Mahaprabhu, because he wanted to taste Radhika's Bhav. He didn't have that. When Krishna was on the planet, Leela Purushottam, he was just enjoying his Leelas. But Radhika was tasting the bliss of those Leelas thousands and millions of times more than Krishna was. Krishna wanted that taste. It's all described in Rai Ramanand Sambhava, this aspect. Britrasura's prayers found in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.11.27 illustrates such a strong aspiration for this type of association. My Gurudev explains this is the first time that this real concept of ultimately Parakiya Bhav is going to be described by Shukadev, which is in the 6th canto. Can you pronounce this?
Mamottama sloka janeshu sakhyam samsara chakre bhramata swakarmabhihi tvanmayayatmatma atmatma jadaragehe shwasakta chittasya nanada bhuyat.
O Master, I do not want liberation. I am not concerned if I must repeatedly roam about in this vicious cycle of birth and death as a result of my actions. But I pray that wherever I go and whichever species I take birth, may I maintain loving friendships with your dear devotees who have prema bhakti for you. O Master, I pray that I will not have to maintain any relation with those who are subjected to your illusory potency and are therefore attached to their bodies, homes, wives, children, families, and others. Such a beautiful prayer. Think about it. Unpack it for yourselves. A genuine sadhak should aspire to have such lobha, intense greed, to attain prem bhakti for Sri Bhagavan. This lobha can appear in anyone, in any stage of life. Even us, fallen conditioned souls in Kali Yuga, we can attain this greed. Not such a big deal, just to become greedy for Lord Krishna. We simply have to chant Hare Krishna. That Hare Krishna mantra will inspire this in the heart. If Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous loving devotion, which is characterized by intense greed, arises in someone's heart, he becomes worshipful for the whole world. Furthermore, by his prema bhakti, he even brings Sri Krishna, who is unconquerable, under his control. This is going back to the first verse. Mother Yashoda, she captured Krishna. She ran faster than Krishna. Tie all the strings together. Have the whole sequence here. Thus, Sri Sachirat Muni prays, O Master, you are bound by the rope of your mother's love. Please profusely bestow upon me prema bhakti in your form as Damodar, who is bound by his devotees. Shri Dig Darshani Briti by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Damodarastakam ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Go, Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vairacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnava. Bhisma Pancaka, I didn't even mention Bhisma Pancaka. Bhisma Pancaka begins today. So we can go a little extra because take advantage of it. There's more Kripa coming in the next 5 days. So we want to become very greedy for that. Jai Ho. Hari Bol.